Oh, honey. Paris Fashion Week was supposed to be the definition of class, style, and elegance. But guess who turned it into her own personal showdown? Meghan Markle. Yes, that's right. What began as a glittering event full of world-class designers, supermodels, and celebrities suddenly spiraled into what everyone's calling one of the most awkward disasters in Fashion Week history. So picture this, Meghan arrives not just to attend, but to dominate. She came in like she owned the place, determined to make a statement, but oh boy, not the one people were expecting. Insiders say she refused to play by any of the usual Fashion Week rules. Stylists? Please. They tried to guide her, but she wasn't having it. Meghan wanted total control. She brushed off every suggestion like lint off couture. Word on the street, she told one designer, and I quote, "I don't follow trends, I set them." Confidence? Sure, but let's be real. In fashion, there's a fine line between confidence and straight-up arrogance, and Meghan might have done a full catwalk over it. By the time she finally glided into the venue, the vibe had shifted. You could feel it. Every camera turned, every head twisted, but not for the right reasons. Some guests whispered it felt less like she came to celebrate style and more like she came to prove something, maybe even to everyone. And here's the irony. She got the attention she craved, all right, but not the kind that flatters. People were murmuring under their breath, saying Meghan acted like she was the only star that mattered. Instead of blending into the creative magic of Fashion Week, she stood apart, demanding, guarded, and radiating an energy that screamed, "I'm here to outshine you all." Oh, and get this. Reporters claimed she even arrived late. Yup, left photographers waiting in the Parisian heat like pawns on her royal chessboard. Some thought she was testing them to see who would hold their ground and who would crumble under the Markle glare. But it wasn't just the outfit, darling. It was the attitude that came with it. Behind closed doors, stylists were reportedly pulling their hair out. Some designers were absolutely shocked at how difficult she was to work with. One insider spilled that Meghan rejected almost every single outfit that had been lovingly prepared for her. She wanted something that matched, as she put it, her royal standard. The team tried to explain that Fashion Week is about collaboration, about artistry, not hierarchy. But nope, it went right over her diamond-studded head. People started murmuring, "Meghan's not here for the fashion. She's here for the spotlight, every move, every calculated glance, every overly practiced pose." It all screamed control. She smiled for the cameras, but insiders said it looked forced. The tension was thick enough to cut with a stiletto heel. The more she tried to command the moment, the clearer it became that she wasn't fitting in. She was fighting it. Fashion Week, as any insider knows, thrives on collaboration, creativity, and mutual respect. But Meghan? Oh, she made it all about her. Apparently, she even refused to wear the gown picked out for her by the brand sponsoring her appearance. Instead, she switched things up last minute, choosing something completely different. That single decision, my dear, threw off the entire schedule. Models, photographers, PR teams, everyone was scrambling. The domino effect was instant. Stylists were frustrated, photographers were irritated, and designers were whispering behind the scenes. Was all this drama even worth it? And let me tell you, in Paris, patience runs thinner than chiffon. Now, some PR insiders have quietly, off the record of course, said that Meghan's behavior was just too Hollywood for Paris. You see, Fashion Week isn't about celebrity drama, it's about creative celebration. But Meghan, she treated it like a red carpet movie premiere. And Paris noticed. Oh, did they ever notice? By the end of the night, what should have been a tribute to fashion and creativity turned into headline chaos. Every outlet wanted a slice of the Meghan story. Was she misunderstood, or was she deliberately playing the diva card to keep herself relevant? That's the question burning across the internet right now. Supporters, of course, jumped to her defense, saying Meghan has every right to express herself, that she's redefining what power looks like, shaking off outdated norms. But critics? They're rolling their eyes so hard you can hear it. They're saying this wasn't empowerment, it was pure entitlement. There's a big difference between standing your ground and alienating everyone around you, and Meghan might have crossed that line in designer heels. And here's the twist. Within hours, the conversation flipped. Social media lit up like the Eiffel Tower at midnight. People started comparing Meghan to other Fashion Week guests who totally nailed the theme, who managed to stand out and stay classy. Posts were flooding in saying that true icons command attention naturally without forcing it. Meghan's behavior, they said, felt performative, almost desperate to be noticed. That's where it stings, because Fashion Week was supposed to be Meghan's comeback moment, the big redemption arc, the elegant, confident re-entry into the spotlight. Instead, it turned into another whirlwind of criticism. Even event organizers were left scratching their heads, wondering how something so glamorous had gone so off-script. One stylist even said, "It stopped being about the clothes the second she walked in." Ouch. Now, some observers think maybe, just maybe, this was all part of Meghan's plan. Because let's face it, controversy sells. And if there's one thing Meghan knows, it's how to play the media game. She's done it before and she's done it well. Maybe this was her way of reminding everyone, hey, I'm still the headline. But here's the catch. Every headline has a price. And in this case, the fashion insiders are whispering that Meghan might have burned a few bridges she'll never rebuild. The fashion world has long memories, darling. Once you're labeled difficult, you're on thin ice. And in stilettos, that's dangerous territory. The fashion elite don't just worship beauty, they worship humility, collaboration, and respect for the craft. And that's what Meghan's attitude reportedly lacked that night. Instead of applause, she got eye rolls. Instead of admiration, she got whispers. And really, isn't that the Meghan Markle pattern now? Every public appearance seems to ignite a wildfire of headlines, debates, and public division. Some say she's misunderstood. Others swear she thrives on controversy. Whichever it is, one thing's clear. She refuses to blend in. No matter where she goes, she has to stand out. But in the high fashion world, standing out doesn't always mean power. Sometimes, it means isolation. Meghan came to Paris to be the star, but she left as the story, and not the glamorous kind. She wanted the world to see her as regal, untouchable, and chic. Instead, people saw tension, defiance, and insecurity. If she wanted attention, she absolutely got it. But respect? Oh, that's going to take a lot longer to earn back. Because in Paris, elegance isn't just about wearing couture, it's about carrying it gracefully. And that apparently was the one rule Meghan Markle refused to follow. Oh, darling, the next morning, Paris woke up buzzing. Not from champagne hangovers or runway recaps, but from the whirlwind that was Meghan Markle. People were whispering in cafes, designers were side-eyeing each other backstage, and stylists? They were exhausted, clutching their espresso cups like lifelines. Everyone was asking the same question: what just happened? Meghan Markle had arrived dressed to conquer the city of fashion, but left with critics questioning if she'd misunderstood what Paris Fashion Week was even about. The moment she stepped onto that carpet, it wasn't the fashion that stole the show. It was the drama that followed her like a designer train. Sources say that when she refused the dress picked by the sponsoring brand, it caused chaos backstage. Models had to be reshuffled, lighting cues retimed, and one assistant even burst into tears because the schedule was completely thrown off. It wasn't just a fashion choice. It was a ripple that turned into a tidal wave. And you know Paris, they don't do well with disarray. Insiders whispered that Meghan's whole demeanor screamed control. She wanted the narrative, the spotlight, the adoration, all on her terms. Some designers felt snubbed, others quietly pulled back their future invitations. It wasn't that she didn't look stunning, of course she did, but the aura around her wasn't grace. It was friction. And in the fashion world, friction burns faster than fabric under a spotlight. Behind the scenes, PR teams were in panic mode, trying to spin the story before the tabloids could devour it. But it was too late. Within hours, every entertainment page, gossip vlog, and fashion columnist had their claws out. Headlines screamed things like, Meghan turns Paris into a power play, Diva moves or master plan, the Duchess who stole the show, and the patience of Paris. The internet was on fire. Social media exploded into camps, the loyal Meghan defenders and the fierce critics. Hashtags like #Meghan at Fashion Week and #Paris disaster were trending side by side. Supporters claimed she was just being bold, a woman reclaiming her space in an industry that often tells women how to act, dress, and smile. She's setting her own standards, they said. She's redefining power. Even celebrities who adored her before started to keep their distance. Some were polite, of course, that's how the game works, but behind closed doors you could hear the sighs. She made it awkward for everyone, one A-lister reportedly said. It wasn't that Meghan didn't shine, it's that she blinded the room. The saddest part, she could have owned that night in such a graceful way. She had everything, the poise, the beauty, the platform. But instead of embracing the collaborative spirit of the event, she turned it into a royal showdown. And by doing that, she didn't just steal the spotlight, she tarnished it. By the time the sun rose over Paris the next morning, the headlines had already spread across continents. American talk shows were buzzing, British tabloids were frothing, fashion journalists were dissecting every gesture, every fabric fold, every interaction. And the general consensus? Meghan Markle had gone too far. One insider even confessed that some designers were visibly uncomfortable during the event. She reportedly rejected their carefully crafted pieces, dismissed stylists who tried to help, and demanded changes that no one dared to make that late in the schedule. It was chaos wrapped in couture. Even celebrities known for being divas were taken aback. There's confidence, one stylist said, and then there's chaos. Meghan brought chaos, and oh, social media didn't let it rest. Fans and critics dissected her every look like forensic scientists. Some praised her independence. She doesn't need to conform to Paris's old rules, while others just rolled their eyes saying, confidence is sexy, arrogance isn't. As the gossip thickened, one question echoed everywhere. Was Meghan's meltdown a statement or a symptom? Was she fighting for control or fighting to stay relevant? Because let's face it, Meghan's every public appearance now feels like a battle between perception and reality. And at Paris Fashion Week, perception won. Across social media, videos started surfacing. Tiny moments caught on camera. Meghan frowning during a designer's speech, brushing off a stylist's touch, glancing impatiently at a delayed cue. People zoomed in, slowed it down, analyzed every frame like detectives. The result? A flood of memes, reactions, and armchair psychology. Some said she looked powerful, others said she looked insecure. Fashion insiders, though, they had one verdict. This isn't how you build credibility in Paris. And here's where it hurts. Being difficult in fashion isn't just a bad headline. It's a curse. Doors close quietly. Invitations stop arriving. And reputations once frayed rarely get restitched. People began whispering that the industry, the one that once welcomed her with curiosity, might start keeping her at arm's length. Because as glamorous as Meghan wants to be, Paris doesn't forget who causes a scene. What makes it even more heartbreaking is that Meghan could have owned this narrative. She could have walked in with grace, left with admiration, and cemented herself as a true icon of style. Instead, she left as a symbol of spectacle. Paris Fashion Week will move on. It always does. Designers will return, collections will evolve, and new faces will emerge. But the shadow of that night, it'll linger. People will remember the gasps, the whispers, the side glances. They'll remember how Meghan Markle turned the world's most elegant stage into her own chaotic theater. She wanted to be the moment, and she was, just not the one the fashion world wanted. Because in Paris, attention isn't enough. Respect is the real couture. And Meghan, darling, may have learned that lesson the hard way.